Hi, I'm John DeDakis. I'm a manuscript editor, a novelist, a writing coach, a former editor on CNN's The Situation Room with Wolf Blitzer, and you're one-to-one with me, and I'm one-to-one with Lorraine Haataia. Hi, Lorraine.
Hi, John.
You are the founder of Prolific Writer's Life, and you've also written a book called Finish Your Book. So congratulations on finishing your book.
Thank you.
Was it hard to write?
Um, no, it was actually very fun to write.
That's
Um,
the that's the correct answer, but is it the honest answer?
no, actually, I can probably say it was fun to write at the end of it. It was work along the way for sure, to decide what goes in and what doesn't. So yeah, there were times when I felt the pressure, I felt the stress of, trying to get next deadlines done or show up for a critique group or that kind of thing. So, but
Yeah.
all in all, I enjoy it.
Okay. Well, then let me show there you are holding it, and let me take this. I'm going to see if I can take this full screen if I can. It's a low budget operation here. There we go. And the book is what I like about the book is that you don't have to read it in order. It's a quick read, but it's laid out so that you can zero in on whatever issue is vexing you or what you feel you need at the moment. I mean, it's got 10 chapters, why you want to write, identifying the reason that you're doing it, what it takes to write. I don't think a lot of people understand the big picture, so you provide, some guidance on that. I like the fact that you stress authenticity. It's important to be vulnerable, and I think we're going to talk about that as we go on. So, being willing to go deep when you write is important. Um, Coming up with being consistent, as a writer, it's easy. I mean, I have procrastination nailed, so we'll talk about that. Chapter 5 has to do with having your own system and coming up with that, which I think, if you'll agree, and when we talk about it, has a lot to do with trial and error, just kind of figuring out what works for you. Chapter 6 has to do with, sustaining, the flow, the workflow of just, kind of getting into a rhythm of it. Chapter 7 is very practical because it talks about expecting surprises, things that you don't expect that will come along that will try to derail you from your writing process. And chapter 8, this is really your wheelhouse, and that's finding your writing community, because writing can be such a solitary experience, and you understand that, and you have you know, the prescription for being able to get out of your bubble and being around other like-minded people. Chapter 9 deals with gathering, writing, sharing, the whole dynamics of a writing community and being with others. And then chapter 10 is very practical again, and that is, finding a writing community. And you have created a writing community, which is Prolific Writer's Life. And in fact, what I want to do is we haven't rehearsed this, but I'm going to put I'm going to put your website on the screen, and then you can guide me through it and have me uh, uh, what's the word I'm looking for? Uh, you can sort of help me navigate where it's supposed to go. And I'm trying to figure out why it's not letting me do this. Remove other media from streams. Oh, I see what it's making me do, I think. Oh, I know what I have to do. I have to remove that. And I have to put this in. There we go. So I'm going to make that go full. And then that's the home page. And you're able to see it. Am I right?
Yes.
Okay. So you tell me where I should go. I mean, I'm going to just scroll down here so that you can see all of the different things that are there. There's a sort of a welcome thing. And then there are different classes actually that you have. You have a session called Words Count. Let me open that up. Tell me what Words Count is. Oh, I can't open it for some reason. Oh, there it is. Words Count writing session. What's that?
The This session is really for writers to come together to write for 1 hour. We use the Pomodoro method where we check in for 5 minutes, then we write for 20. Then we do another quick check-in for 5 minutes and then write for 25. So in that 1 hour, you'll get about 45 minutes of writing time in. But what makes this so powerful, John, is that, we all, if you've done any writing at all, we end up writing alone a lot, but this is an opportunity to write in community with fellow writers for 15 minutes of conversation time. Where are you stuck? What are you working on? Just that encouragement. Sometimes people, they just can't find their file and they just want to vent with somebody, or they're excited because they just finished a draft or they finished a chapter. So it's a chance to just get with fellow writers and just talk about where you are in the writing process and get that encouragement and friendship with fellow writers that you cannot get with family members or friends who are not writers, because they just don't speak the language, so to speak.
Yeah. Okay. Let's go back to the home page if we can. I guess there we go. Let's see. There are members. You can register to become a member. Let's see. I teach for prolific writers as well. Let's see.
Love your workshops. Thank you, John.
Thank you. You've been to a few of them. And let's see. These are all the events. We'll click on that just to kind of give people an idea. 54 events this month, 4,900 community writing hours. What does that mean?
That is basically that's the total hours that people have come together in our Words Count writing sessions to write together.
Okay. And then these are all the different classes that are offered at the moment. And we'll just advance that and see what the others are. I usually teach a class a month. I don't know if it's going to show up or not, but that's okay. People can go to my website and it'll identify those and link you there. But there are a lot of different classes, and I'm going to stop the screen share. But what's the range of types of classes that are being offered?
Well, we have a variety of things, from what I'll call a workshop, where you actually come and an expert will present some information and you'll learn. And I really encourage all of our experts to make everything very interactive. So if you come to a workshop, this is not a talking head workshop where somebody's just talking at you like a YouTube video. One of the strengths of our community, John, is that interaction. And it's a conversation between the experts who are hosting and the members who are there to join in with the community events. So we have workshops where people are kind of learning and then practicing a craft. And then we have work sessions like the Words Count writing sessions. And those are literally for you to get some work done, specific work. If you're in a workshop, you might have a writing prompt, or you might be working off of something that the expert is asking you to do. But typically in one of our work sessions, you're actually working on your project. So getting work done that's important to you. And we also have coaching sessions. So these are one-on-ones. If you really feel like you need some one-on-one help and you just want somebody to look specifically at your project. I know, John, you offer some of that one-on-one coaching, and we have other experts who do as well. So one of the things that I really wanted with Prolific Writers Life, John, is I had been to so many things like writing conferences where you just get fire hosed with so much information all at once. And what I really wanted here at Prolific Writers Life is for people to get as much information as they need when they need it. So they can do that in a group coaching session, which costs less, or they can do it in private coaching sessions if they just really need that one-on-one support.
And let me put the the website contact on there. It's prolificwriters.life. So it's not .org, not .com, .life. And of course, it's not case sensitive, but I've made it case sensitive just so that you can see it better. But that's correct, right?
That's right.
And if people want to get in touch with you, they can go to prolificwriters.life/Lorraine hyphen Haataia, Haataia. And I think I'm pronouncing it correctly. Am I right? If you
Yes.
if you go through life with the name DeDakis, you're very sensitive to those things. Okay, okay. Let's talk a little bit more about the book that you've written. Finish your book, um, and you cover a lot of ground. But talk a little bit more about the. Uh, let me do this. I come across a lot of people who have what they self-report as. Um, what do you call it? Imposters syndrome. And is that something that you address?
Well, in the chapter about your authenticity, one of the things I truly believe, John, is your authenticity, being authentically you, who you are, is the very thing that makes you most attractive and magnetic. I truly believe that, John. One of the things I have enjoyed over the years is comedy. And if you think about going to a comedy show, those comedians that stand up on stage, a lot of times they're making jokes about themselves or the things that their own insecurities, their pet peeves, their own unique perspectives. And not that everybody's writing comedy, but that's why people laugh and that's why people feel comfortable because they feel like there's another human that's talking to them and presenting to them. So if we try to put ourselves on a pedestal and be who we aren't, that's I think when we should feel like an imposter because we're trying to be somebody we aren't. But when we are comfortable and confident in who we are, then that shouldn't come up.
Yeah, but easier said than done. Being vulnerable is scary.
No. Yeah.
And what's the way to get through that to be able to accept yourself?
Well, I'll take an example from memoir versus fiction, John, and I know you know these two areas very well because you've done both. Yeah. If you think about a memoir and you're trying to decide what you want in it or not to put in it, there you are really stuck with a decision. Do I want to share this with the world? Will this affect my relationship with a certain family member? So I think in that case, you have to be very careful. You know, you have to think things through. However, if we're talking about something that's fiction, then hopefully that doesn't come up as much because these are fictionalized characters. So I think we have to kind of distinguish between fiction and nonfiction when we're on this subject here.
Okay. Talk about the challenge of being disciplined, of having a consistent writing time and dealing with interruptions, dealing with procrastination. What are some of the secrets to getting unstuck and staying on track?
Mm. My number one answer for that, John, and I say it throughout this whole book, and that is to
Hold,
be part of a community. That is,
keep holding it up. I'm going to put you on.
oh yeah,
Well, I'm going to put you on solo there so we can really see it. Finish your book.
yeah. And I think the key thing, and I have here, community of people around me. These are some of the first people who joined Prolific Writers Life. And whether you're meeting with one person that you're accountable to, or a half a dozen people, or a community with dozens of people, it is really important to be around other writers. I can't stress that enough because this kind of comes back to, John, setting up your writing system. Part of your writing system is scheduling time to write, being disciplined to write. And so in order to get into that groove and that rhythm, if you surround yourself with fellow writers, you're going to hear the things that they say. Oh, I can't write because my kids are at home. I can only write when my kids are at school. And somebody else figures it out. They say, well, literally, we've had a community member go out to their car to take our call. They'd be in the car, so they didn't have to have the distraction of the kids, in the household. So whatever you have to do to test that works for you is what is most important, and you have to keep working it. Like you said, it's a test situation. Is this working for me? Does it work for me to wake up early? Maybe yes, maybe no. Does it work for me to stay up late? Maybe yes, maybe no. Where's my best energy time? All those things play. But I really believe, John, the most important thing is having community.
Well, I was going to say a community is going to hold you accountable and
Mhm.
offer some, emotional support, I suppose, right?
Exactly. Yes.
Okay. So f- I was going to ask, how do you find your community? But Prolific Writer's Life can be that community. Um, how did you how did you decide on this approach? How did it come about? What was it that, in a sense, forced you to do this?
I think with a lot of startups, John, or communities, or when somebody has an idea to start something, it is because they can't find it. And so, even though I was a member of a state writing, I've lived in several states, I lived in China, even though I was a member of different writing communities in different places, and I was going to conferences where conferences are where you get fire hosed, right? You
No.
get all
Mhm.
this great information, you meet all these amazing people, but it's like going to a Chinese buffet that's gigantic and you just can't eat it all fast enough.
Right.
So in my own experience and I've even started my own writing groups. I've driven a couple hours to go to writing groups that were supposedly amazing, and they were. But what I discovered, John, is that there was nothing out there that was cross genre and there for me every day. So I've been a part of various writing groups that met like once a week or once a month, and it just doesn't seem like quite enough when it's once a week. If you miss 1 week, you already don't see your friends in your group for 2 weeks.
Mhm.
So, and another thing that influenced me, John, is that I was a professor, so I taught writing, tech writing, English and English 101 and lit and things like that. And the hardest part for me, John, was saying goodbye to my students at the end of every semester. I got to know them and like them, and then I had to say, see you later. Probably never see you again, but it was nice seeing you.
Mhm.
And I really wanted something where we could I wanted a writing community that had certain features: lifelong friends, people who are regular writers or working on a book or whatever. And it wasn't out there. And I know there are a lot of genre groups too, and I think they're great. I think you should join them. If you write, romantic comedy, you should join a group for romantic comedy. But Prolific Writer's Life is cross genre, different age groups, people in different parts of the United States, people in different countries even. And that cross pollination, John, has been the most magical thing about Prolific Writer's Life.
Hmm.
We launched in 2020. So we're a little over 5 years old, 5.5 years old now. And I give an example in the book where one time somebody is writing a scene with a child in a book, and there's a children's book author. Now, this is before Prolific Writer's Life was there, and I was going to different groups. But there was a children's book author who said a child would not have of that age would not have knowledge to say that.
Mhm.
And so this cross pollination of people from different genres, different parts of the world, they give a new perspective that is just it's so valuable.
One of the things that you do in your book that I think is really helpful is you talk about scams. And I mean, lately I've been getting emails that talk about my books specifically. They name me. They draw
Mhm.
upon my experience, and they say, oh, this is such a great book, and you have got such a great, a great resume, and I know a lot of people would really love this, and if you take my class or hire me to promote you. And I mean, I just know it's probably written by AI, and they've probably these mills have probably hired people to go after specific people, and they probably get a commission on how many people sign up. But talk about these scams and how you can spot them, and how you can resist them.
Oh, well, I do actually list some of those things in the book about how to spot them. But so, for example, if somebody is not giving you, they send you an email, they're not giving you their website, or it links just to a social media account. Typically, you will not see a last name. It'll be like Fred L. Also, if you check their email address, a lot of times they're trying to mimic like there's some other publisher or somebody else. But go check that web link and see if it goes anywhere. A lot of times it'll be a 404 dead end. So those are some of the real basic things you can do if you get an email in your inbox. But that's another reason for a writing community is ask some other people. Have you heard of this company? Have you heard of this? But yeah, and John, you are a journalist. You probably better than anybody could say, how can you dig into this and see if it's authentic or if this is not so authentic?
Right, exactly. I think what they do is they prey upon your impatience and your vanity. And you can really get soaked for a lot of money. And sure, maybe they'll actually publish your book, but you will have spent thousands of dollars that you need not have spent. And that's not to take into account those that will take your money and run. You just don't know. And so I think your book has been really helpful in helping people recognize that there are scams and that you need to be careful as you go about doing this. Is writing a get rich quick experience? Is this, I mean, in my experience, it's not. I mean, there are something like 20,000 books a day that are being published, and the competition is fierce. And it would seem to me, and I'd be interested in your opinion on this, it would seem to me that the people who are really writing, sure, they want to get published. It would be great if they could have a bestseller, but writing is its own reward in many cases. So I guess my question is, what's a realistic expectation for what a person can make as a writer?
Wow, that is a very, very broad and deep question that we could probably spend our entire time talking about. Yeah. Now, the one thing I would define though here, John, and you hinted upon it, and that is rich. Can you get rich quick writing a book? Not very many people. It's sort of like, can you become a rich basketball player or football player, in the pros? Yeah, some people do. So it can happen. There are the Stephen Kings and so forth out there. However, I think in defining the word rich, and I want to jump back to what you said is the reward in itself for writing. And I'm going to say in less than 30 days after this book came out, John, I had a reader who was reading my book, and she scheduled some time with me. She wanted to meet with me, and I was excited. She said, hey, I'm reading your book. I want to meet with you. So we scheduled a time. She comes on the call, and she said, I'm reading your book. And then she starts bawling. She's crying uncontrollably and cannot even catch her breath. So I waited through and let her, kind of catch up and get her breath. And she tells me, John, I talk about perfectionism in this book. Right. And she tells me how she had, I'm getting goosebumps thinking about it. She had this huge breakthrough that made her realize how much perfectionism has been holding her back in life, in her book, in her writing, and in many other areas of her life. And it was an enlightening moment for her, and John, that experience of knowing that I wrote that book and that this is going to help this woman who has kids, might ripple effect to help her kids, help her relationship with her husband, all of that. I can't put a price on that. I can't put a price on how that changes her life, her kids' lives, because it's not always about the dollar. So yeah, I think if people want to make money, then you have to choose a path for your book that will lead to money, right? So if you have a business and you're going to use your book as a business card, so to speak, and you're a coach, that can actually, your writing your book can help you to make more money as a speaker, a coach, or whatever. Even as a business owner, can get you keynote speeches where you get connections to other people. So we have to, and again, those are the kinds of things we can discuss in community. What is your goal with your book? And if it relates to making money, you're going to have a whole different strategy than if it is to speak from your heart.
I want to switch gears because you and your husband Bob are RVers. You travel around the country in an RV. Talk about that lifestyle and how it relates to your writing.
Well, we are based in Casa Grande, Arizona. We're in a small town that's between Phoenix and Tucson. So our home base is here, but we do have an RV, 25-foot leisure travel van. My husband takes such good care of it. He loves it, keeps it running, keeps it working. And I get to kind of walk out there with my clothes and my cat and our cats, right? And we go off on trips that he does a lot of planning for. So it's really, really wonderful. But the combination for me, John, works really well. When I'm here at home, I can spread my wings, have my home office. I've got my books, and I can do laundry because I've got laundry on site right in my house. But when we're out in the RV, it's an adventure. So the last trip we just recently took during my book launch, as a matter of fact, in August, my book launched on August 13th. We were in Santa Fe, New Mexico. I didn't really plan for that in the beginning, but it ended up working out that way based on timing, and then some other book festival and a book conference and a writers conference that I went to. But it's an adventure. I like to meet with other writers along the way, go to conferences, book festivals. I love to stop into bookstores and see if they have a section for local authors, talk to the indie bookstore owners, or even Barnes and Noble, the managers there. So, and then just be out in trees, to write in trees, and then next day be in a city or be on the beach. So it just keeps life interesting.
Do you find that the different settings in any way impact your writing in a different way?
Oh my, yes. When thinking about writing in nature, in fact, I have a story in the book about that. One of our RV trips, when we went out, we were going to Flagstaff, and we had an adventure because the normal spot we go to was closed down for fire restrictions. So we had to, in the dark, go find another place. But the morning when we woke up, John, and I was in the Ponderosa Pines in Flagstaff, when you step out, all you smell, you're just in a pine forest, you just smell this amazing Ponderosa pines, squirrels running around. My cats are watching the squirrels, chirping birds. It's so peaceful. It refills my battery. And I think we have different batteries, John. When we're in a city, it fills up a different battery. It fills up that adrenaline of the excitement of the city, or the new restaurants, or, different cuisines to eat, or, lots of bookstores to visit in a city. So it fills up different levels of curiosity and interest.
It's almost as if you could write a book about that, about the RV writing or something.
Yes, and we might have more to come on that, because there's a group called Escapees, and we are potentially looking at having one of our groups be travel writers who travel in RVs and stuff.
Excellent, excellent. So what's next that you're working on?
Well, I'm kind of torn between two projects, John, and maybe you can give me a little guidance here. So I recently went to a retreat that lasted 4 days, and I drafted another book. I think I got 27,000 words done. And this one is about plot. My working title is Plot Your Writing Life. And so this one is to really think about, what kind of writing life do you want? Where is it now? Where are you going? What are you doing to get to where you want to go? And, what are the things you can do in your life to have that writing life you want? So that wouldn't be a really long book, but it would be a nice follow up to finish your book. And now I have another one that I wrote many years ago, and it is called, was originally called A Woman's Guide to Packing a Suitcase. And this is a book I wrote when I knew my husband was getting an assignment in China and we were moving to China. We basically sold everything we had, put some things in storage, packed up a couple suitcases, and moved to China for an indefinite amount of time. We weren't sure how long we were going to be there. Wow. And I had a lot of anxiety. I get not tremendous anxiety, but I was concerned and I wanted to be prepared for leaving. And so this book was my own therapy almost, to think through, what is it like to pretty much sell everything. My little red Mercedes, like, oh no. And just basically lighten up, get rid of everything, and just go on an adventure. And it was so amazing. It was so amazing. But that book, John, I actually want to do a rewrite on that book, because basically I did write, how do you plan for like packing up your life and moving to another country kind of thing.
Yeah.
But what I want to do is I have a little twist on that book that actually came out of a conversation with somebody in Prolific Writer's Life. And that is to talk about how we as writers use writing as our own therapy. Because,
oh man.
Right?
Oh yeah. Oh, I'm not. Yeah. Yes. Keep going.
Yeah. Because I wrote that book to calm myself and prepare my mind for packing, selling, donating, and leaving. And I want, so here's the twist I want to do for that one, John, is I want to go back and do a little rewrite, and it would be a writer's guide to packing a suitcase, and I'm not sure what that and is, and taking the leap, or I don't know.
Okay. I'm not hearing anything about fiction. Is fiction in your wheelhouse or something that you want to try?
I have been doing so much marketing type writing for a lot of my career. I did marketing writing for builders and website content. So I've been doing nonfiction for so much of my life. I have written some fiction stories. I consider it to be a wonderful challenge to write a novel. I haven't really, the story, a big enough story hasn't come to me yet. I can feel it coming at some point though.
Oh, good. Okay. Because I'm sure you'd be very good at it. And you've already written a book that would give you the guidance that you would need to write your novel as well, I would think. What else? What am I not asking that I should have?
Well, I guess I want to let you know that I just finished Enemies Domestic a couple of days ago, your book.
Oh, bless you.
And really enjoyed it. Your style is so clear and so easy to read, John. And I think that is something that writers really need. And I would encourage anybody out there, if you are writing and you want to get clarity in your writing and more direction, John is a fantastic expert and coach out there. I had so much fun with this book. And I got to say this, John, if I write a fiction book like yours, Lark Chadwick, there will be a writer in the book, I'm sure, if not more than one.
Well, and that's the thing. You write what you know. You should write what you know, definitely. But, well, thank you. That is so kind of you. I didn't know that was going to happen. So, that's delightful. We've been one-to-one with Lorraine Haataia. She's the founder of Prolific Writer's Life, and she is also the author of Finish Your Book. I'm John DeDakis, yes, and that's how you can get in touch with me, johndedakis.com, and we'll go back down to the bottom here to show you that Lorraine's website for Prolific Writer's Life is prolificwriters.life, and you can get a hold of Lorraine through that same website, prolificwriters.life, /Lorraine hyphen Haataia, Haataia. Lots of A's in there. Thank you, Lorraine. This has been a real joy, and I wish you all the best. And I'm also looking forward to keeping in touch and working with you on Prolific Writer's Life. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, John. This was so much fun. Thank you so much.
You bet.